Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Gunpowder and Freedom. So, as you can see, I am in the comfort of the garage. Just trying to kill some time this morning. The waterproofing guys aren't scheduled to be over there until about 10. I wanted to get over there to do a little bit of cleanup, but sticking with my normal schedule, I'm up at 4:30 anyways to relax or do some video editing. Seems to be the only time I really get to do that sort of stuff. So I figured I would take this opportunity to not only upload footage, but also answer some of the more frequent questions that I get. I have compiled a list of questions and comments that I've gotten over the last few videos that are kind of reoccurring. Now, I don't expect you guys to watch every second of every video. I feel like I've covered a lot of these things in the videos, but completely understand how valuable time is. So if you want to fast forward to see the working stuff, completely get it. But basically, I have a list of 10 questions / I think there might be 1 or 2 comments in there that I'm going to go through and answer, and I'll have each question or comment pop up on the screen. So if you see yours, thank you for asking. I appreciate the communication there, the involvement with the channel. And then also, another thing that we're gonna do, which I'm pretty excited about, is if you guys remember a couple videos ago, this company CIGMAN reached out to me, wanted me to test out their laser level. I guess they liked the review that I did because they reached out again, wanted to send me another one, a different version, but I'm not a person that is gonna take something just because it's free. If I can't use it, I'm gonna be honest and say, hey, it's not really for me. I don't see the need for it. Now, I do have a couple of these laser levels. I have one from CIGMAN and one from Lasgu. Both work tremendously well. So when CIGMAN reached out to me and said, hey, would you want to demo this? It's one of our newer models. I thought about it and said, hey, I have a couple of these. I don't really feel the need for it, but if you guys are up for it, how about this? You send it to me. I'll show it on the video, I'll show it working, I'll show everybody how it works, and then we will pick one lucky winner and we will send it to them. And they were on board. So they sent me their new CM-C01 plumb and laser level. So we're gonna take this over to the property. I'm gonna show you guys how it works, what it is, and I will come up with a question that I'm gonna ask, and the best response is gonna win this nice CIGMAN laser level. So without further ado, here are those questions. All right, guys, so our first question that I've been getting a few times is about the way we are doing our foundation and why we chose to do the standard poured concrete solid walls as opposed to an ICF foundation, which is insulated concrete formwork. We do have a couple companies in the area that offer that. My brother chose to do precast walls, as we call them. Basically, it is concrete, and then there's insulation there with metal studs. So in theory, what they are is they are poured on a separate location, and then they come in and they crane these into place, epoxy them, caulk them, whatever they do, bolt them together. And then one of the benefits is that after they're up, and your framing's done, your basement floor is poured, they are insulated. There's knockouts in the studs, so essentially they're good for running your electric and then drywall. There's really no need to do any framework inside with 2x4s, drilling holes. Now, the reason we chose to do concrete instead of these precast forms or cinder block is that it's one of those things that is drilled into my head that it's concrete. Like our concrete walls are attached to the concrete footers with all of those rebar studs. We have a ton of extra rebar in these walls, and in my mind, they are not going anywhere. Now, this is no way, shape, or form me, bad mouthing the ICF forms, the precast forms. But these forms, unless they are on like a walkout basement area where you need that, in our particular area, our frost line is 3 feet. So when you have a walkout basement with these ICF forms, you still need them to be on a concrete footer that goes 3 feet below your grade. The rest of the area is basically just on a gravel footer. You use a special gravel mix, they go on there, and in my mind, I just wanted my foundation walls attached to a concrete footer, especially with that hillside being there. Any weight pushing on that, I didn't want there to be any sort of possibility that these things are gonna move. And again, not that the ICFs would move, because they've been around for 30, 40, 50 years and they are tried and true. You know, if people didn't trust them, people like my brother wouldn't use them. So that was mainly personal preference, and it was something that I was kind of somewhat familiar with. So I'm friends with the guy that owns the company, talking to his crew. They were all on board with letting me help. So I want to be a part of this process as much as I possibly can without being in people's ways. So yeah, that's why we chose to do that. And we didn't do cinder block because cinder block is a little bit less expensive, but I've seen over time cinder block kind of degrade and become spongy if there's water issues. So didn't want to do that. I wanted concrete, I wanted rebar, and that's what we did. So thank you, John Elliott 6738 for asking one of these reoccurring questions. I hope I answered it to your satisfaction. Next question. On the forma drain, how do you pour concrete over a forma drain and allow water to get in it, like your videos? So basically what the forma drain is it's a form that goes in place instead of like a 2x8, a 2x10, or a 2x12 for your actual foundation footers. Now you form your footers with this forma drain. The one side is solid and the other side has holes in it. So it's not necessarily a drain for water that's coming in through the top. It is a drain for water coming in through the sides, whether that's interior or exterior. The water is going to work its way to the lowest point, and the lowest point being these drains. So you have the water that comes in, it hits the side of the drain, it goes into the drain, and then it exits to a French drain that you have to physically hook up. Sometimes these pieces have knockouts that you can attach 4-inch corrugated pipe to, or your perforated pipe. If you want to do like a solid wall and do some 90s and stuff, perfectly fine. But basically it directs that. So that's strictly exterior, it catches the water. Interior, like I talked about in a couple videos, it's not only going to be the French drain for any groundwater that's coming up through the ground, which sometimes happens. It's also going to be radon gas. So that radon gas essentially is the same thing as water. It's going to find its way to the weakest point of that structure and work its way up into the house from there. So it's going to hit these footers, come up into the house, but now that we have these footers that have holes in a drain, the gas is going to go into there, and then we'll have a pipe stubbed up through the wall, coming outside of the wall with a radon fan that pulls that gas out of the house. So that's how the forma drain works. Again, something that's been around for a very long time, that's been tried and true, and yeah, so there you go. That question was from Anthony Winters 2869. So thanks, Anthony Winters 2869. The next question comes from Dave Zowers. I apologize if I'm butchering that. But this one was, how many yards of concrete did it take to pour those walls? 107. 107 yards of concrete. Hands down the most amount of concrete I've ever ordered at one point in time. And I was kind of giggling when I was ordering it, asking Denny and Tim, the dispatchers over at Thrower, to hold 11 trucks for me. That was pretty cool. I've never got to order that much concrete at one time. Usually my jobs tend to range from the 1 to 2 yards to 20 or 30 yards that I'm ordering at a time. So telling them, send me over 107 yards, that was pretty cool. So thanks, Dave, for that question. All right, so this one was probably the most frequent questioned, This bunch of people have asked that. Why didn't we do the concrete work for the footers and walls? So my primary line of work is flat work. Basements, garages, patios, sidewalks, driveways, flat work. We don't really do verticals. Occasionally we'll get into like a small retaining wall where we do just something small, maybe a couple feet, but nothing to this magnitude. And when you're doing something like this, it's really important that everything lines up. You need to have your walls positioned almost perfect on these footers to make sure your weight is evenly distributed over top of that footer. Not to mention, you need to make sure you can get your rebar stakes in to tie the foundation wall to the footer itself. And you know, I dug the trench footers. That was pretty easy, but I did have a lot of help. Mike Deegan with Seneca Foundations was there probably a little bit more than he wanted to, so thanks, Mike, I appreciate that. But he was helping me out running his I'm blanking on the name of that really cool robot thing that marks out the house and all the corners, making sure I was hitting all the points as they were needed. And then after we got everything poured, his guys went along with that same, man, I really wish I could remember the name of that because that was cool. They went along with the same piece of equipment again, marking out the corners on top of the concrete, snapping a string line so that they could get the rebar stakes in. Now, I wanted to make sure the walls were done just as good, you know. So it's like, hey, if you're doing the walls, do the footers. That way you guys know everything is lining up as it should. The only question I have is, can I help? Because I want to help, as you guys probably know by now. So that is why TSH did the footers and foundations. Not that I don't have faith in our team. I think our team could have done it. Would it have been done as well as Seneca Foundations? No, and it definitely wouldn't have been done as quick either. That was a lot. So no offense to the guys I work with, but vertical work is a completely different animal. And if you work flat work, and if you've ever worked vertical, you know that is a very true statement, that the two are just completely different, even though they both are concrete. So that's why we didn't do the footers, but I was just thankful enough that I have a friend that does do that, and his crew was willing to let me help as much as I did. So thanks guys for those questions. That was one that I was getting pretty often. So this one wasn't a question, but more of a comment coming from Darcy Z6R. It made me laugh because there's a whole lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes that you guys don't see, because, you know, even though I'm putting a lot of this stuff on my YouTube channel, I do like a sense of privacy. So Darcy said, "Hope you enjoyed that shower when you got home." And the reason this made me laugh was because with my life, it just seems like when it rains, it down freaking pours. And the day before we did this, the pressure relief valve on our hot water tank at home crapped the bed. So I had to shut off the hot water tank. I had to mess around with the pressure on our main water line coming into the house because we just got a new water tower activated. So our pressure went through the roof, which I thought was good, but then we started having some issues and decreased the pressure. It fixed a lot of the issues, but the pressure relief valve on our hot water tank was shot. So I shut off our hot water tank, killed the power to it, I drained it, I flushed it, drained it, like I just kept flushing it to get any sort of debris out of there. That wasn't fixing it. So by the time after we were done with this, I still had to stop at our local hardware store, pick up a new water relief valve, come home filthy dirty, covered in concrete, fix the hot water tank, then turn it on, make sure everything was good. Everything was good. Then I had to wait an hour for the water to heat up. Then it was bath night for the girls, so the girls needed to get a bath. Rachel got a shower, so by the time I got the shower, all the hot water was gone. So I had a cold shower after doing all that. So not a question, just a comment with a little bit funny story. So thanks, Darcy, for that one. again, not a question, but a comment coming from Connie Samuelson 3078 about how my wife and mom are blessed to have husbands like me and my dad that can do so much. We're not. They're not the blessed ones. I'll speak for my dad on this one too. We are the blessed ones to have such supporting women in our life. You know, having a job like this, our schedules are very chaotic. They are not fixed. So my wife specifically is a very strong individual. She is a nurse practitioner in the NICU. For anybody that doesn't know, hopefully you never have to find out what a NICU is, but it's a newborn intensive care unit. So she deals with premature babies, babies that are just in really bad shape. And, you know, her bad days really put my bad days into perspective. Like, her bad days, babies die. And the fact that she gets up and goes and does what she does is just a testament to how strong she is. And then she comes home to somebody like me, who I can never tell you when I'm going to be done with work. I might be working until 8 or 9 o'clock at night. We might get rained out at 11 a.m. I never know. And then even when I'm done working, I usually have meetings or side jobs or work to do at the property or work to do on the house. So she has been such a blessing and a gift to have during this process, because now we're throwing a house onto our chaotic schedules that I could not do this without her, because while I'm working and doing all that, she's here taking care of the house, starting to pack the house up so that we can put this on the market, taking care of the girls, just doing so much stuff that I can never thank her enough for. So I'll speak for my dad. We are the blessed ones to have wives that we do, and just thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Mom. So yeah, not a question, but a comment. So thank you for that one. Those were some of the more frequently asked questions. If you guys have any other questions that you'd like to know the answers to, please drop me a comment and let me know. So we're gonna go ahead, get bundled up here, head over to the property, set up the laser, show you guys that, and in the meantime, I'll come up with a question I want to ask and get you guys on the track to hopefully winning the CIGMAN CM-G01. So we'll see you guys over there. All right, guys, so here we are over at the homestead. Got a couple other guys that just showed up to do some work that, not a lot of film, but either way, in here underneath the porch, because for right now, it is the darkest area that I have to show you guys this laser level. So once again, this is the CIGMAN CM-G01 laser level. There's a level line as well as a plumb line on this particular laser. One of the things that I always kind of judge a product off of is the packaging. If the packaging is cheap and chintzy and just doesn't look good, not packaged well, that sometimes is a reflection of the product itself. But the one thing that I do like about this is the cardboard alone seems pretty decent, but I do like the foam packaging that this thing sits in. It's pretty nice and dense, but soft enough that if you drop the box, I don't think there's going to be a big issue. You have your laser itself, and then you have your wall attachment there, so that if you need to put this on a wall, you can do so accordingly. The user manual, I was briefly flipping through that. It's pretty self-explanatory, pretty easy to read and understand. Really no big technical terminology, but again, this is the laser itself. You have your on and off switch right here, and then you have 4 different brightness settings which are controlled by here. Now this does take 2 AA batteries that you put in on the bottom here. I can open this one-handed. Well, just trust the fact that there's 2 AA batteries in there. So basically, you set this up on your surface, you turn it on, and there's your broadcasting line. Now you see how it's blinking? That's because it's on an uneven surface and it is out of level or out of plumb. So right there, it's not blinking, you know everything's good and straight. That lower line is running level. Now the level line does sit a little bit lower than my other ones. My other laser levels, they sit approximately 3.5 to 4 inches up
So it's really nice to set that on a footer, broadcast our line, and now we can chalk lines for interior concrete. But I do like this still for the fact that you can get a nice level reading, you can get a nice plumb reading. So this is the CIGMAN laser level, the CMG01. Now, as far as the contest goes, I think, keeping with the holiday tradition, what we're gonna do is, I would like to know everybody's favorite Christmas tradition or favorite Christmas pastime. Now, this is going to be purely opinion based. There's really no metric to gauge these answers off of, but if you want a chance to win this laser level, which I will ship to you, no cost or anything, Merry Christmas, drop me a comment and leave me your favorite Christmas tradition, just something that you guys do every year or have done in the past that you really love. And I personally will pick my favorite response, my favorite tradition that you guys do, maybe even implement that into my new growing family's lives, and hopefully create some awesome memories based off of your guys' favorite traditions. So again, drop me a comment, leave me those favorite traditions in the comments. I will pick my favorite one on, let's do, how about Christmas Eve? Christmas Eve, I'll pick my favorite one. And make sure you guys check your comments after Christmas Eve, because the last couple t-shirt contests I did, nobody responded and nobody sent me an email. So I will respond to your comment if you are the winner, give you my email, you email me, and I will send this to you. And I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas. So that is gonna do it for this Q&A, as well as the CIGMAN laser level review giveaway. If you guys like what you saw, please click the like and subscribe. Don't forget to like us on Instagram, and don't forget to check out the links in the descriptions, so that if you would like to purchase one of these or something similar, there's a link in there with a description. But again, I just cannot thank you guys for the continued support. You guys liking and subscribing and watching, you guys are the ones keeping this channel going and growing, as well as thank you CIGMAN for teaming up with me to do a Christmas giveaway with one of your laser levels, and being very nice and professional when I said, hey, you know, I don't really need it, so thanks, and then throwing that out there. So thank you to everybody. I know I've said it in the past number of videos, but thank you to everybody that have helped me and Rachel get to this point. The foundation wall guys, the footer guys, my parents, Rachel, you know, people that came over for consultations, like Mike. Just thank you a million times over, thank you. And I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas. Good luck on the laser giveaway, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.